You're really going to drink Coke? You're not going to drink booze?
I'm going to jump on this in I was about to jump on it. I got my shorts on too. See, shorts.
No, I don't want to see that. Come on, you can pour yourself like one tequila, right?
Peer pressure.
Come on, dude.
Wow.
Is it going to really screw up your bike ride that much? Come on.
Dr. Oju, don't give in.
Dr. Oju.
Oju.
Let me get something. Hold on.
Welcome to the Curiosity Public Podcast. I'm Dutch.
I'm Jewel.
Dylan.
Dr. Oju.
All right, that's right. We got the doctor in the house for a very special episode. Special COVID house arrest, not being able to leave the home edition, right? That's what we're calling this? That's a long name.
Quarantine edition.
Quarantine edition. All right, Dylan, you got some questions. We were talking about this the other day, but you have a set of questions for us about bars, right?
No, you're supposed to ask us what we're drinking.
Oh, yeah. I forget that. That's
already out the door.
How about, why don't I start? I'm actually drinking some Jefferson's Reserve tonight.
Nice.
The very old. They don't actually say how old it is, but there have been rumors that they've got blend. I mean, it is a blend, but one of the things they blend is like a 15-year-old. But I don't know if that's actually true. It's good stuff, though. Jules,
fascinating.
And continuing with the special release special occasion, I got some Weller Special Reserve.
Dylan?
You guys are too predictable. All you're drinking is bourbon. I'm drinking Appleton 21.
Rum.
Oh,
You're doing rum.
Nice.
Appleton 21.
All right. What's the doctor drinking?
Actually.
You know, it's funny because I'm drinking the same thing Jules is. Some Weller.
No.
No way.
Wow.
Awesome. All
Man.
right. Okay, now, Dylan, you can talk to us about bars.
I read this interesting article in Difford's Guide. I don't know if you read that. It's for discerning drinkers. And they asked this question, what makes a great bar great? I think we've been to a bunch of bars in our life, right? I think some of us have gone to different countries, have gone to different bars. This article, when I started to read it, I went through this rabbit hole. All these other articles started to come out, and they said 9 essential ingredients that make a great bar. And then they asked bartenders, what makes a great bar? So they started asking this question, but who cares what other people think, right? Our opinions matter. So I wanted to ask you guys the first question. So what makes a great bar? Let me ask that question.
Well, can I ask for one piece of clarification, though?
Sure.
Does it have to be a bar, like a standalone bar, or can it be a bar within a restaurant?
Well, the question is,
Bar. So
what makes a great bar? So you can define it however you want.
Oh,
Dutch,
man.
You are your own man, Dutch.
All right. Well, so I'll start. I'll kick this off. I got an idea here. I mean, a great bar has to have decent selection and good ambiance. I would just leave it at that. Like, if I can't find something decent to drink, why am I spending my time there, right? And then if the ambiance, if it's too loud, if I can't hear the person I'm talking to, that's horrible. If there's nobody else in there, that can be okay in the right circumstances. But like, the ambiance has to fit what you want, I think. So I'd say selection and ambiance, those are the top two. There's a whole bunch of other things, like some bars look really cool, and that's obviously really cool. But those are the top two for me. How about you guys?
Well, I might as well just go next because I'm going to tack on to yours. I mean, basically, those are mine as well, qualifiers. And then I think the one thing I would put underneath both of those, though, would be the service. You know, obviously, like if there's a cool bartender, like if he knows, or they make great cocktails, or, he's just a cool guy to talk to or girl to talk to, I'm always down to do that. Because I've gone to several where, if we're looking at bars that I'll go and mainstay like after work. Yeah, I mean, the one big draw for me was I'd always go back to this bar that was attached to a restaurant, but mostly because of the ambiance, because it was a cool Scottish pub. Yeah, the bartender was awesome. Just come back and talk to them. I don't necessarily need to be with other people, or a lot of times I'd go there. I mean, I learned about it from coworkers. Yeah, I mean, that's usually it. But then if I'm traveling the world, a lot of times I'll look for also some unique, special thing about the bar, that piqued my curiosity. So.
All right, Doc.
I think this is a very complicated question. It can't be summarized in a simplistic, like, good selection and so forth. I'll give you an example that bucks the trend to some degree, and then I'll dive in a bit more. But one of my all-time favorite bars is in Reno. It's a dive bar. It's like bartenders completely drunk and useless. They have a horrible selection of alcohol. They have a pool table, a stripper pole. They have a vending machine that sells motor oil and a claw machine that has sex toys in it.
Sounds amazing.
I love this bar
Wow.
so very much. It is so much fun. But that's the thing. I mean, to some extent, it's what you're looking for. And I think that if you want a good cocktail, then you go to a good cocktail bar. And then maybe it's more about the cocktails on the menu. I really think that the staff is really impactful, the energy behind the bar. For example, there was a bar that I used to frequent that was awesome because the bartenders were constantly doing shots with each other and the patrons, and it was a really fun atmosphere. Then it became a dry bar where the bartenders were doing shots anymore, and the energy just kind of wilted away, and it wasn't as much fun. So it really kind of has to fit what you're looking for, but I also don't think it's a one size fits all kind of scenario. It really depends on what you're in the mood for, and then having them be able to execute on that well. In terms of like you were saying, the ambiance too, right? I actually prefer bars that are dead most of the time, unless I really want some people watching and whatnot. But if I go to a bar and there's like 2 other people at the bar, I love it because I get all the attention and I don't have to be bothered necessarily. But again, those are some of the factors.
If you're in the mood for that, that could be awesome. But like you said, it's about the energy and what energy you want from that bar.
Exactly.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, cool.
Absolutely right. I would say the thing that I'm looking for is the energy behind the bar. And this is where I'm going to be blasphemous here. So you guys know I like things neat, straight from the bottle. But when I go to a bar, I don't like to order neat drinks. I want to have a cocktail. I go there because I want to engage and experience someone's skill level. I want to respect their trade. And to me, a bartender making a fantastic cocktail, what makes that bar incredible. And so Dr. Oju shared his favorite bar. I'm going to share my favorite bar, and I'm going to go around and ask Dutch and Jules as well. My favorite bar was a bar in Copenhagen. It was in Copenhagen where we found this, it's almost like a speakeasy special bar. You have to go through like a bank vault, kind of hipstery. I didn't care about any of that. What was incredible about was the bartender. He would go out to his garden and get all these extracts, and he's making all of these concoctions. And I said, just make whatever you think would be great. I like that experience. That's why I would go to a bar. I can't do that at home. I don't want to go to a bar and get something that I can get at home. I can get better things at home. But the cocktail and the skill that a bartender provides is something unique, and that's what I look for. So Dr. Oju is correct. I want that energy behind the bar, and I want that cocktail skill. So Copenhagen, I don't want to say the name of the bar, but yeah, that bartender, showed us all of the special Buffalo Trace antique collection. He had all of that stuff, but I didn't care about that. I wanted that skill. I wanted to experience that. So Dutch. That's
interesting. So I come at this almost like, I think it's almost equal for me, right? So one of my favorite bar experiences was in New Orleans, and it wasn't it was a restaurant, and it had a really cool bar. It just was the experience of hanging out there, chatting with the bartender. They had a pretty good selection. It wasn't about the cocktails. It was about the experience and the ambiance. That one blew my mind. It's still one of my favorite bar experiences. On the flip side, I've had also extremely awesome experiences just being in a bar with a really good bartender and doing the whole like, hey, omakase, just make me something. Like Dylan, you and I were in Chicago that one time.
Yeah.
And we weren't even sitting at the bar. We just told the waitress, hey, tell the bartender to make us something with whiskey that's kind of complicated and interesting. And we had really interesting drinks.
Yeah, it was smoky.
Yeah, like they put tobacco. They rubbed the glass with tobacco. I remember that.
Oh,
and
cool.
I still remember that. That's an experience, getting that kind of an experience where somebody actually takes the time to craft something. So I feel like I've got those two ends of the spectrum, like one where it doesn't matter what I'm drinking. It's the vibe, it's the energy, like what the doctor was saying, like the energy in the place, doesn't matter what I'm drinking. On the other end, it can be any kind of energy, but like that bartender is just so fine tuned, and it's about experiencing what they put out.
There's one thing that you mentioned in terms of the experience, right? Experiences are super fun, and I travel going to all kinds of bars to get those experiences. But one thing that a friend of mine who's a bartender said is, you get this drink that's like really crazy, like your tobacco rimmed cocktail or whatever. But how many times do you want to drink that same cocktail? I've had some phenomenal cocktails, but I've had them and I'm like, great, I'm glad I had it, but I don't necessarily want to have it again. But it was really fun having it that first time. So I think there's a balance too between what makes a great bar if you're a tourist wanting to go have a drink for what an experience versus what's a great bar that you want to go back to over and over again and actually even drink the same drinks over and over again, necessarily.
So it's that whole like experience versus actually the drink that you had.
Yeah, and I guess that begs the question, what's a better bar? The one that provides, that you want to go back to, or the one that provides that experience that you're like, oh, this is great. I'm glad I did it.
Well, actually, like an example of that, Jules, you and Dr. Oju, we went to that bar in Prague.
Rorschach.
The Rorschach bar. And like, I think back on that was such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
But I can't remember one of the drinks we had. Like, it was so cool because you read these Rorschach cards and you say, I want that based on the Rorschach card, and then they bring you the drink. And it was such a fun, amazing experience. But I couldn't tell you right now that one of those drinks was the most amazing drink I ever had, but it was such a fun experience.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Would you guys go back?
Like a large enough group where we got to try, I think, pretty much
the whole menu. I would go back. I would go back, but not for the drink, for the experience.
I'd go back if I had a different set of friends I went with and I wanted to share that experience with them.
Yeah.
I know if we went back, I don't know if we'd go back there together. I don't know.
I don't know the next time we're going to be in
back
Prague.
To that, actually, I mean, one of my favorite bars, still to this day, was actually one that I always frequented with my coworkers when I used to work in Hollywood. So it's actually, and it's a restaurant, so it's the one I mentioned before, where it's like a pub and restaurant. It's the Tam O'Shanter in Burbank, and it was just always this cool little place, Scottish pub, and and part of it though is that they also serve freaking good, Laurie's prime rib. So we also had dinner, but I mean, it was just one of those where after work, we would all go there and hang out, and just the vibe was cool. I mean, the bartenders, they were like old white ladies who didn't really care about getting your order right, which was freaking awesome. And half the time,
were they Irish?
Macallan, like shots of Macallan. So it's like, all right, whatever. And but I mean, we went there all the freaking time, man. Especially after like long days, filming and stuff. It was always a lot of fun, and that's mostly why we frequented it. It's just and of course for a lot of us too, it was on the way home.
Man, I forgot you're Hollywood boy.
Yeah.
Gee, man, what is that?
Yeah, but I do think that's isn't that a segue to one of your other questions, Dylan?
Yeah, so the second question is, I think to know the good, you need to know the bad. So share a bad bar experience. What made it really bad? Dutch.
I've had a few. God, why do you make me go first? But okay, so there have been a few times where I've been in a bar, and I think most of my bad ones have been when it's too loud. And I feel like I sound like an old man, but there's two. Too loud where I've got to yell my order. It's too crowded and I can't even get my drink ordered. The second thing is when there's no good whiskey or something that I want to drink neat. Because we've been talking about cocktails and I love a good cocktail, but seriously for me, like if I go to a new bar, I will happily have a cocktail. But I really don't do much more than like one, maybe two cocktails before I just don't want to have anything sweet anymore. I want to switch. I want to drink just whiskey or maybe tequila or scotch or something, whatever it is. I want to switch to something neat. And I've been in bars before where there just isn't anything that I want to drink neat. So yeah, old man, noisy, and then nothing neat. And I've also been to bars where the bartenders will kind of sneer at you if you order certain things.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
I was at a place once where somebody wanted like a martini, right? And they were like, "Oh, we don't serve vodka here."
Wow.
So, I mean, like, okay, I get it. Like, vodka is nothing special, but if somebody shows up to your bar and they want a martini, you should be able to make them a vodka martini. You should have something on hand. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base with that.
I don't know. What if it's just like a whiskey-only bar? Why the hell are you in there?
You got to cover your bases, man. You got to at least have a whiskey and a tequila. You got to have something. Come on, if you're a bar, you gotta cover the bases. You can have your specialty, but you got to be able to cover your bases.
Interesting.
I'm going to take a hard line on that.
For me, the biggest thing that makes it a bad bar, I mean, because I guess it also depends, right? Like, it depends on who I'm with or what occasion I'm going out to a bar, or if like no occasion. But a big turnoff would be just overpriced liquor, especially like on just on common pours I can get, like, and to Dylan's point where I can drink that bottle at home. Yeah, so that would be like one big characteristic turn off for me that would make it a bad bar.
All right, I feel like Dr. Uju is going to talk for like 30 minutes about this.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. I love it.
I think there's a lot of dimensions to this as well. I like to actually disagree with Dutch. So there's a bar frequent that's one of the top tiki bars on the planet. I spent a lot of time here, and I've heard people walk in asking for a cranberry vodka so many times. It's like, what the are you doing in this bar? And they're like, we don't have cranberry juice, and people get upset and angry they don't have cranberry juice, but it's a tiki bar. I mean, and it's a top tiki bar. So if people showing up and ordering things that make no sense based on where they're at, like I actually get annoyed at the customers.
Just one minor point of clarification. I agree with you on the cranberry vodka, but like if they don't have a single bottle of vodka where they couldn't even make a martini, that's a gap. I'm sorry.
Sure, but I've never actually come across a bar that doesn't have a single token bottle of vodka.
I agree, but I've been in one that didn't have any vodka, and that's what I'm talking about. So anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, fair enough. I'll concede that point. Bars that just blatantly don't know how to make the drink you're asking, and instead of saying, hey, I don't know, or I'm gonna look it up, they just make something that's disgusting. Actually making disgusting drinks, first off. Like there's a lot of drinks that require balance, and these bartenders like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. They just kind of free pour, and it tastes like shit because it's not balanced. They don't taste the drinks that they're making before they serve them to you. I think that there's pretentious bars that I really don't like. There's a handful of them where you can't order a drink. You just have to tell them what you're in the mood for. Like, I feel like citrus and flowers and whatever, and they make something for you, and you could or could not like it, but they don't give you the option of making that decision. Bars that are hard to get into, that there's lines and passwords and codes and whatnot, it just adds to the pretentiousness, which gets annoying. I mean, I get if there's a line, or even reservations are fine, but making it really challenging to get in becomes problematic. That's a sampling of things I don't like.
That's pretty good.
You raised one actually that I think, Jules, you have a story about this, right? Where you ordered something and somebody made you something that was completely wrong.
Oh yeah.
What was that?
What was that? That was
I don't remember what you ordered, but they made you like a whiskey and orange juice or something like.
Yeah. It was
Vegas.
I think I ordered a highball, and I basically just got a full glass of orange juice. That was hilarious. That's right, man. Totally
how about you, Dylan? Come on, you didn't answer this one.
All right, so my answer is pretty straightforward. You guys know I'm a very old man, so I don't like loud places. I don't like crowded places. I hate having to wade through bodies in order to get to the bar to order something, and the guy looks at you, annoyingly looks at you and says, yeah, you got to wait because I got like 5 other people ordering, vodka martinis, and we don't have any vodka. Like that kind of deal. I don't like that. And I was going to throw in, I don't like young people, but that's pretty much
on the Bill Burr side.
But I think Dr. Aju had a very interesting comment. I want to ask you, so do you feel the most comfortable in like a dive bar? Is that your go-to? If you went to a new city, that's where you feel the most comfortable?
I like to go to the fanciest cocktail bars and the diviest dive bars. I like the full spectrum. I think they both have different things they have to offer, and I like them for different reasons. But I tend more to hit cocktail bars when I'm traveling. For example, Reno has a lot of really good dive bars, and dive bars are a lot of fun. That's in a different way.
Jules, do you find that dive bars, hipster bars, upscale bars, which of those do you find the most comfortable?
So when I'm traveling, you mean, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. I think the thing when I'm traveling that I look for a lot of times is I end up trying to look for something that's got a cool like shtick to it, and one that actually comes to mind. And I think actually, Dylan, you were with me on that trip when we were in Hong Kong, and we went up to, there's a really cool bar at the Peninsula Hotel on the Kowloon side. Ooh. Where their shtick was, so we didn't have anything to know about the bar itself and like what alcohol or cocktails are provided, but their shtick was that they have these cool men's urinals with a great view, right? Where basically it's facing out into the harbor, so it's like you're peeing on.
Yeah, you're peeing on everybody,
and it was amazing. It's like, oh my god, this was like the most amazing experience ever, and I was totally sold.
It's true. So, you're urinating on the world. That's what
exactly. It was like, oh my god, now I see what the heck everyone's talking about. You have to go up and like go pee. And like we were even telling the women we were with on that trip, you guys just got to somehow get into the men's room just to see it, because it's a whole nother experience, man.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Nighttime is the best. But Dutch, I think I can answer this for you. I know you like only the snooty bars. Is that where you go?
Of course. No, I enjoy a good dive bar. I've got to be in the right mood for it, so I don't think I'd go to the dive bar the first stop of the night. That's maybe like the third stop.
The last stop.
Probably the last stop. I probably prefer to be somewhere where I can talk to a bartender, hang out, look at the selection, maybe say, hey, craft me a cocktail, or I want one of these. And I know that person can make a really good one, and I can sit there and have a conversation with them. So I think my preference is for the quieter, good cocktail bar that probably has a good whiskey selection too, so that I can switch to whiskey. But hey, ending up at a dive bar, that can be a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I'll answer by saying that I actually hate bars when I go alone. I don't like to be in bars by myself. I do not feel comfortable going to a bar. I never do it. I never go. In my lifetime, I don't think I've ever been to a bar by myself. I don't go, you know what, I'm going to go to a bar. I've always gone with somebody else. That makes me comfortable. So I could go to any bar, dive, hipster, upscale, it doesn't matter. I have to be with somebody else because it's this weird thing. I don't have like social anxiety or anything like that, but I just don't like to go to bars by myself. I don't know what.
I think you just proved the opposite, but
Yeah.
okay.
So I fall on the opposite side of the spectrum there. I go to bars by myself all the freaking time. And it affords you the opportunity to interact with the bartenders. And once you become more of a regular at locations, there's a lot of other regulars. So you get to a point where you just go to a bar and you recognize like 3 or 4 people, and you don't have to make plans to go out with your friends to the bar. You just show up at the bar and you kind of like a cheer scenario. You know a bunch of people at the bar, and that's a lot of fun too.
Maybe my second half of my life, I will endeavor to go out and go to those bars. But yeah.
I think you're supposed to do that in the first half of your life.
Oh, really? Well, there you go. I missed it, and that's fine. I'll drink at home. So I got another question for you. Do you find that food is essential? Do you need food in these bars? Some people say, I was reading through these lists, and half these lists are saying, well, you have to have the drinks, but you have to have the food to go with it. Is that essential for us? I personally, I don't care. I can go anywhere, but if I'm going to a bar, I'm expecting a drink, not necessarily a food.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I second it.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to, but it can enhance something, at least having something to like nibble on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if not food, at least some counter snacks.
What,
I
popcorn?
need my peanuts, man. Give me my peanuts and pretzels.
Jelly beans? So this one's going to be a little controversial, I think, maybe. I think it's controversial in 2020. Do you like smoking versus non-smoking bars?
Where the hell is there a smoking bar? There's like no smoking bars.
Well, in other countries, right?
Okay.
In the United
Actually,
States.
we went to one in the doctor's city.
That's
a
true.
couple years ago.
That's
Yeah, it was a cigar bar. Yeah.
So, do you prefer smoking bars? Do you prefer non-smoking bars?
I prefer non-smoking. I wouldn't mind the opportunity to, if I wanted to have a cigar or something, to go to one that would allow it.
And
Listen, smoking all day as long as it's got video poker, baby.
that's what I was going to say.
In Vegas, yeah.
The one in Vegas, the one in Reno definitely had one, the dive bar.
There you go.
Nowadays, we don't really have a choice. It's usually non-smoking, which is fine. I think I understand the health component. In the past, it used to be these smoky dive bars that people went in, they'd smoke their cigarette, enjoy a night out. That's not there anymore. But if you go to other countries, that's still alive. That culture is still there. So
Not many places.
I really prefer non-smoking bars, but as Dutch said, having the option of 1 or 2 places in the city that you can do that if you really want to, I like that as a good balance.
Yeah, there should be at least like 1 or 2. In whatever city you go to, there should be 1 or 2, right?
it's true. As an option, right?
As an option.
The other question that's been interesting to bring up is straws. Like you handed a Bloody Mary without a straw. You're like, how the am I supposed to drink this thing now? This paper straws, you're trying to suck out of it, and it falls apart halfway through, and all you're getting are the tannins from the paper and the flavor. It's disgusting. I carry straws in my car, so when I go to bars, I can take my own straws.
No way, what, titanium?
Okay, so what's a drink that if you got it without a straw, you would be like, you need to give me a straw?
Bloody Mary for sure. But half of it, most bars will have paper straws or hay straws. Hay's awesome. I think hays are great. They work great and they're super biodegradable. But the paper ones, there's some high quality ones and there's some really low quality ones. The low quality ones are just awful. You're paying $15 for a cocktail. And then all you taste is like the tannins from it. It absorbs the liquid and swells up, and you're getting like low flow rate. Halfway through, you have to get new straws. It just ruins an expensive cocktail. I've been a vocal proponent, or is that the right word, against paper straws. Opponent of paper straws at bars. There's so many other places where you can like be better and save plastic, or they could be actively pulling the straws out of the cups when they get them back and recycling them. But instead we have this like crazy ban everywhere that's really annoying. That's my thought.
That's something that I did not think about. I don't go to enough bars, I guess.
A lot of time at bars.
So Dr. O, do you have like a handful of plastic straws in your car or something?
Yeah, when I go to like fast food places, I'll pick up like a handful and I shove them in my trunk and I'll take them. It's actually this
like
one
paper straws now.
What?
They're all paper straws now too at the
Not all.
What do you think about the metal straws though?
I'm going to answer Jules first real quick. The paper straws they have at those fast food places are higher quality than the ones at bars that I go to. So
Really?
the high quality paper ones are fine. It's the low quality paper ones that are problematic. And the metal ones I don't like for two reasons. You can feel it on your lips like as a cold metal, and I don't like that sensation, as well as you have electrochemical reactions of the metal as it touches your mouth. You don't have the same experience as you would with something neutral. I think glass would work, but who wants a clean glass? Like reusable plastic maybe? I don't know. Yeah. I went to this bar and just kept in conversation. This woman goes, "Oh, I'll get my straws for my car." She goes out and she brings back this big thing, and she has like 3 or 4 reusable straws that look so complicated. They got like the little thingies to stick in the tubes to clean them, and it's just there's so much plastic waste on this planet, and straws are the place where we think we'd be most impactful. Some of the other places we'd be more impactful. It's just annoying.
Greenpeace is gonna knock down your door.
I have no idea where Dr. Oju lives.
No, I mean, yeah, that could be a workaround. Though, is like, don't give a straw, but if somebody requests a straw, have some on hand to give them one, right? It's like,
how can you not give a straw for a cocktail?
I agree.
For a specific drink, though, you know what I mean? Like,
there's some drinks you need it.
Some drinks you have to, right? I mean,
bamboo straws are probably the way to go.
Bamboo, hay, there's recyclable plastics, or just actively take the straws out of the drinks and recycle them at the bar.
Yeah,
you can do that.
Yeah,
we're with you.
Well, that's all I got for the questions.
Well, dude, that was awesome.
Thanks for inviting me. That was fun.
Jules, you want to take us out?
Yeah, thanks for listening to Curiosity Public Podcast Quarantine COVID-19 edition. And, if this is up on YouTube, definitely hit that subscribe button for more content from Curiosity Public. Comment down below. Give us a thumbs up if you like it. And check us out on all the other podcast channels.
And stay curious. Stay curious. Stay curious.